All right, I'm letting people off hold. So Al's off hold.
I see Brittany.
Brittany.
Off hold.
I'm here.
I'm going to unmute everybody as they come in. Try to show yourself, please.
I'll just do the princess wave the whole time until
Princess Mood.
I'm going to switch to my computer. I'll be right back.
Hi.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Oh, Brittany left.
she was switching her computer.
Oh, that's right.
Just a heads up.
Hey, Al.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, buddy?
We go.
There's
Go.
Brian. Getting everybody. Come on, it's after hours. Is anybody having a drink today?
We should have made it a virtual happy hour.
Could have made it. Oh, your empty Diet Coke bottle. That's depressing.
I love how your message said you were doing Coke rather than drinking Coke.
Wrote that wrong. Definitely wrote that wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
Diet Coke for when I can't drink another cup of coffee.
Ooh, look at Monica's all done up. She's like, oh, got makeup on.
This is my 4th meeting today. That's the
gotcha.
only reason why.
At least it was
Understood.
worth it.
Yeah,
And you look
I had 4
great.
meetings. I'd
Oh,
look
thanks.
You look
How's
very
everybody doing?
I mean, living the dream. Just absolutely living the dream.
Yes, this is a
Definitely.
dream, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, we have everybody's microphone on, so as you're popping in, talk to each other, say hi. If there's anybody who's missing, Daniela Dasse, that's my favorite site on this call. That's right. She probably didn't hear what I just said. I made up her own last name. So
Probably not.
It's about me? What?
I said my favorite face to see on this call is you. So glad you're here. No offense to anyone else.
That's kind of mean.
Yeah.
She knows I'm just
Thanks, Michelle.
messing with it. Oh, everybody's logging in. Okay. All right. So we have everybody's microphones on. Feel free to talk to each other. Feel free to say hey.
Hey, Kelly. I texted you last week because I got an email from you. Did you ever get my text?
No, I didn't.
And then I also called you. So I'm guessing it was the wrong number.
It was probably the wrong number because I didn't get anything.
Well, and I was like, oh, she probably thinks I'm ignoring her.
Oh, that's okay.
Did you figure out what you needed?
Yeah, we figured it out.
Okay, good.
That's all right. Thank you, though.
No problem.
So we're gonna give everybody till like a couple minutes after 4, and then we'll get started. There were some Zoom issues earlier today. I know Jess from Nearpod had an issue, and some people couldn't get into the meeting. So sorry about that earlier today at 2 o'clock. If you were trying to get in, you couldn't. Jess had a problem with a link on her end, so we had to send everything and scramble. So there'll be another call for Nearpod in case anybody's interested at 2 o'clock on Thursday.
How many people we have total, Joe?
Total signed up are 21.
No, I think it's like
23,
23.
but I know one of them isn't doing it, so 22.
22. I think we've had a few people, 1 or 2 people back out, which is fine.
Do we know who they are, Joe? I'll go in and take their names out of the jigsaw.
Yes.
Sarah Petty.
Sarah Petty wasn't able to do it. And let me look at the registration form. Sorry, everybody. I think that was it. Was that it?
Kyle.
That's all I
Everyone's
know.
joining us.
I think it was, so it should be down to 22. If you take out Sarah Petty, it's 22. I don't think there's anybody else that's missing.
Actually, keep it at 23 because Danielle did not sign up.
All right, so
Adase.
Adase, I like. Okay.
Oh, then I'll add her. I don't know if she's in there.
Is somebody like riding in a Jeep or playing with a car? I see like little car wheels over on the side.
Erica, yeah.
Oh, so there you go. Yeah, do it in
Looks
your
like
do it in
a
your
cooler.
driveway, Erica. That's very nice. Well, look, it's after hours. If you decide to have a drink while doing this, God knows we all need it. So feel free to enjoy if you like. No judgment here. I won't ask Brian Finnegan what's in that thermos. That's a big thermos. That looks like it's a long day.
The long day for thermos. That's what it is.
That's right. It lasts all day long. Sweet. So again, we're just going to wait till a couple minutes after 4. If you got to get up, use the bathroom at any point.
Joe on the house party.
Oh yeah, that was. These are all random things I'm doing now. My friend Matt sent me an invite for house party, and now people request me on house party, but I'm never on it, so I don't know what I'm doing. So.
You'll be on it. Don't worry.
I think my Zoom calls are just so exciting, as everyone has heard, that just everybody wants to be on. So.
Well, you know your new nickname is Joe Erotic.
Joe Erotic, that's right. Just like that. That's right. It's trending on Twitter. It's very good.
That's pretty funny.
Good. These things can only happen to me.
Oh, helmet. You need your helmet.
Oh, Joe remembered to mute himself this time.
Well, when I went on the phone, sorry. Oh, they'll be
Jimmy,
yelling.
you're a little lagged over there.
They'll be yelling at some point. Sorry.
No.
All right, Dave, if you can maybe keep an eye out in the participants, see who we're missing. We have 16, and we're looking for 23. So we're just waiting a few minutes.
20. Oh, 4 of us.
Yeah, minus the 4 of us.
You'll stop.
The Meglio keeps leaving and coming back.
I'm back.
Nice.
Sent the text too fast. SOS.
Yes.
All right, I'm muting myself.
Gotcha.
Guys, aren't you so excited that the test for this is only like 90 minutes?
Not 3 hours.
Hey, Romano. What's up?
How much are you?
Again, living the dream.
Yeah, right. Kept up with your videos, I see.
I'm trying to keep it going. Trying to, see how I can keep the conversation moving along with this. So, all right, we're at 4:02. We're going to start because I'm sure, first of all, thank you for coming on at 4 o'clock. I'm going to mute everyone at this point. You do have the ability to unmute yourself. So just give me a second. I'm just going to unmute the other trainers. Just give me a sec to go through this. So, all right, Kyle, you should be unmuted, and Sam, you should be unmuted. Okay. So if you know of somebody else that's supposed to be here and they're not, shoot them a quick text and see if they can get themselves into our little meeting. Thank you for joining us today at 4 o'clock. We originally had a plan to start this in late April and early May and do it, of course, in person before the universe had other plans for everything that was going on with us. So we wanted to just give you an overview as to what we're going to do over the next 3 weeks. But this is also not a 3-week process. There will be some things that you'll have to do in order to be able to apply to be a trainer. So we're going to go through all of that with you, talk about a few things. There are some activities we would like you to go through. Sorry, my dogs just came barreling in my kitchen. Oh, Rebecca, we have to do like dog pictures later because you have 2 golden retrievers and I have 2 golden retrievers. So yeah, there you go. At least yours are laying down. Okay, so let me share my screen here and we'll go through a few things. Kyle, do you just want to speak to make sure your mic is on? I want to make sure I muted everyone because I have a little bit of a lag here today.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Jamie
Yeah.
and Sam.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, thanks everybody. Okay.
You only do this so everybody sees your Darth Vader background.
Yes, that's exactly what.
Like a 2-year-old.
Be quiet, Kyle.
Thanks for explaining what that was, Jamie.
Kyle
No
doesn't
problem.
believe in things like fantasy and stuff like that. He's too busy. He's too
Also,
busy not
guys,
matching
these-
he's too busy not matching his shirt with anyone else. All right. Well, welcome.
That's right.
So just really quick to go through this with you guys. We have you guys muted right now. If you want to speak, you can raise your hand in the participants feature located on the bottom of your screen. Also, you can throw things into the chat. We want to hear from you too if you want to do any other additional professional development for later. Why is this in? Okay, sorry. Our next couple meetings, next week we're meeting on Wednesday at 2 o'clock because we're off on Tuesday for spring break. The 21st we'll be meeting at 2 and the 28th we'll be meeting at 2. Regarding the exam that you have to take for the trainer component that Jamie was making some small jokes about, there is an exam to do with this. We have some review materials for you. It's more about online legal requirements as well as some things that you should be aware of as a trainer. We'll figure out a time where maybe we can take that together as a group in a Zoom type setting. And there's also a portfolio that you have to submit. We've had some great help to create this program with Josh Seipel at EdTech Team. He's been a great resource. We took a Google Trainer Bootcamp with him, and he's been a wonderful sounding board for us as we've created our Google Academy and given us resources. And we've modeled a lot of what we're doing off of what Josh does with EdTech Team, but we've made it specific to the Woodbridge Township School District because that's, of course, what we know best. We do want to create some building teams. This is something that myself and the other trainers are going to be presenting to admin. We love being on this team and doing professional development, but we also realize that we can't service and help every teacher in the district, and we need a larger team. We need more trainers. I think all of that is evident by everything that's happened in the last 3 weeks. I am fairly certain that all of you have become go-to people for your colleagues. It's not uncommon for Mrs. DeMeglio to send text messages to me and ask me questions about Google Sheets and Google Classroom and then yell at me when I don't get right back to her, which I'm totally fine with.
I never yelled at him. Never once.
She does like, why aren't you responding to me? No. Anyway, we've all become resources for each other, and that's been a great thing. I think we need to build on that success. And I think each school, some schools are going to be covered with trainers and others aren't. And we also want you to understand that we're not expecting you to change the world with what we're doing. It might be you're working with a small group of teachers and you're going to help train them on the newest things that come out in Google every year. And that's fine. But we are looking to have more people, assist with this and come through and help our district. So that's what we're working on. We want to treat this like, I'm just going to unshare myself for a second. We want to treat this like, the way maybe affirmative action is. So at the affirmative action, committee, that representative comes together, they learn a little bit about something that they want the staff to know, and then they go back and, it's turnkey to staff. So we want to create presentations or pillars, if you will, of different things that we want to teach in the Woodbridge Township School District. Maybe do one specific thing, a marking period, and have us be involved with training people in our buildings. We're never going to get to everyone, but training a few people at a time are going to, really expand our network of what we have. Do any of the other trainers want to talk about what I just discussed or have anything to add?
Sure, I'll add something.
Sure.
Yeah, you can. Go, Sam.
So right now, it's the team of the four of us, Joe, Jamie, Kyle, and myself. And so we have a team, and it's all of us, it's the four of us pushing things out to the whole district. So our plan was to maybe have you guys build your own teams and have a set list of schools that you would help service, which is what Joe is trying to say. So this way we can reach more people. And from there, like, so it would then be a team of four of you, and then we would help you with everything that you need, and then you could relay the information, so this way we could reach more people than just the four of us doing it.
And we'll talk more about that also, and why that will be important for you to make sure that you're consistently doing training when we talk about the requirements for keeping your trainer badge, because you don't just get it and then keep it. There's a list of things that you have to do in order to maintain that status.
Yeah, and that was very well said by both Sam and Jamie, so thank you for that. Kyle, anything else to add or no?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is getting more people on board, is so that, like, when we do these trainings at 4 o'clock, not many high school teachers want to stick around or end their day, then come back at 4 o'clock. So I think it would be good to have more high school teachers, trained in this, so they can train the high school teachers at the time that they get out.
Yeah, and we're still in the early stages of, I wouldn't say the early stages. We've been planning this for a while. This is a great, I think this is the linchpin in what we're doing with Google Academy and starting to create more trainers, and all of you were a part of that. So it's cool to see, you all here deciding to put forth, another step in your own professional development. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation real quick. I won't show my Darth Vader background this time. Okay. So yeah, we're stuck together, so we might as well work on professionally developing ourselves. So instead of, you guys all know who we are, we've decided to entertain you a little bit. We're going to tell you the funniest thing that's happened to us during quarantine, and go.
Nothing funny has happened to me during quarantine.
Boo. Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Okay.
It's just, yeah.
Now, Samantha, go ahead.
Samantha. Wait, Kyle's next.
Oh, Kyle's next.
Yeah, and I'm along with Jamie. Just bored, happy it's nice out. My kids can go outside and play and not beat each other up inside.
Nice. Sam.
Okay, well, I actually do have, I have a few funny stories, but my 2-year-old daughter decided that she was going to hide her goldfish from her brother by putting them in her diaper, and then coming up to me saying, "Mommy, I have fishies in my vagina." Because, that's life with toddlers while we're trying to teach. So that's my funny story. There's plenty more, but Joe?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I let both my golden retrievers out in the backyard in the morning to do their morning duties.
This is horrible.
Yes, and my son was outside with them. He has one of our dogs on a leash because he'll run around forever, and the other one normally just goes out, pees, and comes back in. And then all of a sudden, he's at the back door crying, going, "I need help." And I'm like, "Buddy, what do you need help with?" So I go running to the back door, and a fox had apparently ripped apart a rabbit, and my youngest golden retriever had a rabbit's leg in his mouth, and my son was mortified, which now is funny that we laugh at it, but he was very much in the moment an upset little boy. But there have since been many rabbit jokes and Easter bunny jokes by my wife to keep him in a good mood. So there's always fun little stories that happens when you have kids running around your house. So what we'd like you to do is there is a link in this Padlet that's right here. And we would like to,
are in the Google Classroom.
Yes, the slides are in the Google Classroom if you want to follow along with us. I did forget to mention that. Hopefully you've all joined the Google Classroom. We did send the code out. Jamie, maybe if you could throw the code in the chat, please. So we'd like you to share what some of your pain points or scary thoughts are when it comes to providing professional development to adult learners, especially teachers. We've all been in good professional developments. We've all been in bad professional development seminars. I've both been a part of them and led some bad ones. I know that. We want to hear what some of your pain points are and what are some of the things that you're worried about in providing professional development to adult learners in this Padlet. I'm going to click on that, and I'll see you guys start popping things up. Okay.
So you can either double click or click the little pen in the bottom right hand corner or the little plus sign. And,
You'll notice that all your names are coming up anonymous because you're logged in, and that's fine. If you could just put your name in there, that would be great.
So when you log into a Padlet, it'll add your name like mine has at the top. But if you don't have a Padlet account, you can do what Joe is doing. Oh yeah, now finding my session valuable is like the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm like, you should have left.
Just going to make sure that everyone is.
You can try refreshing it. Sometimes it doesn't update. Yeah, see if you click update at the top, Joe.
Got it. Yep, I see. Okay, perfect. I've also given everybody and I didn't have that on before. I've given everybody the opportunity or the ability to unmute themselves. If you want to chime in with anything, you're welcome to do so.
For those of you who don't know the class code, I just put it in the chat.
And you guys can respond to each other in the Padlet as well. Top. God, it's like you guys have been in like every professional development that I've ever done.
Yep.
There's a lot of really good comments in here.
Yeah. And guys, feel free to turn on your microphones if you want to talk. Sometimes it's weird that only like Sam and Joe and I talk and Kyle.
Wendy
looks pretty.
Wendy Jaworski, that's a great comment. It's and you know that's one of the definite pain points is it is just that. That's a great comment. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely. That was something we tried to tackle when we did level 1 this year. We tried to separate that group of like 50 participants into like a lower level and a higher level because you just can't cater to every single person when it's so mixed. And the people that are there to learn, you can't really be like help your neighbor all the time. It's not really fair to them. So but yeah, it's a great point.
And people did not think they should be in the higher group or lower group.
Yeah.
That was always interesting.
yes. Yeah, we'll give you about another minute or two on this.
I think there's a couple of people who are talking about like finding like what you're doing like meaningful or like valuable. I have to say that like most of the time, if people are coming and it's a voluntary thing, not like PD day where they're like forced to pick something, but like these online PD things that we've been doing, generally they're very grateful, even if they don't take a ton of information away from what you're saying. That's my experience anyway. Stage right.
Looks like we have just about everybody here too, which is great.
Yeah. Um,
I am going to take a picture and post it later, but not put the Zoom link on Twitter. So
you
this way,
can actually,
Why not?
Joe, we
Why not?
can download this as like a PDF and add it to our Google Classroom.
The Padlet, you mean?
Yeah.
Great idea. Where is Demeglio? And she can't unmute herself. Participants to unmute. Yeah, I don't know why that's still lagging. Okay. That's honestly, that's a great first activity. And I want to thank Miss Gross for putting that together. Does any of the trainers or does anybody out there want to make any comments to this about, hey, you saw something that after you read it, you're like, oh yeah, that's me too. And we'd love to hear from you about what are some of your other, of who you agree with on this Padlet. Maybe you didn't write exactly what they wrote, but you feel the exact same way that they do. So if you want to reach out and give us some, or if you have any advice about how you dealt with a particular situation in giving professional development, that would be great. So feel free to share. We'd love to hear from you.
I see a lot of people commenting that they don't feel like the people in the room take them seriously. I still don't feel this way, but I found that, especially with Tech Academy, where I'm teaching something that I'm super confident in and that I know very well, and if I'm well versed, people tend to take you not more seriously, but if you find something that you're really great at, focus on that. Like, I know I'm not good at Google Sheets, and when we did the Sheets class, I was like, not me. Whereas I know Google Classroom inside and out. So work to your strength with this when you're giving a professional development. So that's why in our team of the 4 of us, we all have our different strengths and we all play off of that. And Joe is a great leader, and that's why he leads the meetings, and we all have our different strengths. So when you're doing professional development, try and find that, and then you'll feel more confident when giving the PD.
Yeah,
Knowing your content really well too.
Yeah, I design Google sites like a toddler draws a car. So, this and I know that that's a huge weakness for me because it's just, I can do it, but I'm just not good at the design of it. And Miss Gross is. So I make sure that if we're going to do one of those projects together, I play crew on that one and she's the captain. I do what she says. For those of you that are young in the profession, I saw that Erica and Al had talked about youth and people not wanting to listen to you. And good luck. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that is something that you are going to have to deal with, and realize that there are going to be veteran teachers that are not going to hear a damn thing that you're going to say in a meeting, or you're the new guy, or you haven't been doing this for very long and you come in very idealistic, and that's great. And we need that. But at the same time, you're going to have the veteran teacher on the opposite end of things that's going to be jaded and cynical and not want to hear what you have to say. So
part of that too is being really good at knowing what you're talking about, so you have the answers that they want, because they're going to ask a lot of questions, and if you don't have those answers, then you're immediately going to lose them. The other part of that is also not being in control without seeming like you're talking down to them. You really want to come from a place of humility and I just want to help you because I know that you have a problem. And as soon as they feel like that you're there to help them, not to make them feel stupid, that they don't know how to do this stuff, you can break through a lot of those barriers, because that's a lot of times when people don't know how to do things. And then this young person walks in, they're already self-conscious about the fact that they're older in their field, but now you're kind of speaking over them. So making sure that you're always checking in, making sure that you're always sitting with them and helping them. If you've ever been in one of our trainings, you've seen us we'll literally sit down next to somebody who we all know is really struggling and just try to be as friendly and as specific as possible. Some you will never get to. And some of them you will get to, and they'll do really great things, and they'll be super thankful, and that makes it worth it all the times that they're not thankful. So it balances itself out.
Yeah, Rebecca, I don't want to put you on the spot there, but if
Okay,
you,
I was muted. That's the only reason.
okay. If you want to speak, if you want to speak to an instance where
No,
that'd be
I
great.
feel like I teach first grade, and right now we don't use Google Classroom in first grade, so I'm pushing out platforms that my other like first grade team teachers aren't familiar with, and they like make fun of me because I'm the young one, and I am like I like to think I'm good at it. Well, I'm better than them in a sense. So I think that they like look to me, or even like my parents. I feel like my mom will call me and she'll be like, she's a teacher in district. She's like, how do I log into an IEP meeting on like Google Meets? Like she has no idea what she's doing, but because they think we are younger, they kind of hold you to a higher standard to understand. And like, a lot of it is true. Like we are able to figure out things quicker because it's the way we grew up. Like technology was booming when we were growing up. So it's different in comparison to them. And I feel like that's like that's an advantage to us, but at the same time, I am the youngest on my staff. So I also know that like people don't always take me seriously. So it works in both ends. So it kind of, like Jamie was just saying, like, you know what you know, and like stick to that because they will kind of listen to you and like believe in you, especially when you do start to help them.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be important when we team you together to have that mix of people, because, you might be able to look at a roster of people who've registered for your professional development seminar and be able to figure out, okay, well, this is a veteran-led group. There's some people here who maybe don't take value in what I'm doing. So part of that should go to maybe a more seasoned veteran to help get the message across. I'm not saying you have to change, you're going to completely abandon what you're doing, but you can always adjust. And I also want to make mention of, Mr. Caldwell said there, that's a stigma that young people are great with technology and old people are terrible with it. And sometimes that's not always the case. That's one of those stereotypes that, that's one of those stereotypes that we need to sometimes break. And I also think of like someone like Erica. Yeah, like
through level 1 teacher certification, we can get anybody through level 1 at least.
Well, and I also think when I think professional development, I think of Erica for a second, who works in the Gifted and Talented program. That's a very small department. So I'm sure it's a very close-knit group, and it's hard for people to, there might be some challenging relationships in there in regards to professional development that she's going to have to deal with that maybe other people are not. So we just want you to know that this has to be part of the conversation when we're developing PD about how we're going to, okay. About
that means you get a drink, right? When the cat enters the screen.
When the cat enters, oh, yeah, Zoom bingo? No? Nice. Come on, who had porn interrupt the meeting last week? Anyone? Porn interrupts the meeting? No? Okay.
Not the elementary one.
Just me, not the elementary ones. Okay. So thank you for thank you for your honesty with that. Does anybody have any final comments? Anything they want to say? Ms. Jaworski, I think that the comment is great about leveling the professional development. I think time, money, and resources are always the limits to that. But that's something, the more people that we have, the more, we're going to be able to find, someone might find value in professional development if it's at their level. But if we're sitting in a presentation to do all these extra things that we have to do, just wasn't expecting it. I lost my train of thought. It's just important to realize that it's time and resources that are going to make this entire program for our staff better. Okay, let me get back to our little slide deck here, and then we'll get through the rest of this. We do have, sorry, I don't have my window open.
We're going to see Darth Vader again.
No, you won't. Actually.
Hey guys, it's me and Lily. She didn't sign up for this.
Okay, so we've reviewed the Padlet. We want to talk a little bit about the article that we asked you guys to read. We want to spend a little bit of time on that. And then we're going to talk about the trainer test, the application. We're going to do this jigsaw. We'll talk about the role, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do for next week. So I'll throw it out to any of the other trainers to maybe start the discussion on the adult learning theory article with the group. I'm going to unmute everybody. Hopefully that works. Actually, I'm muting everyone again. My apologies. And then when you want to speak, just hit the raise your hand. We'd like to talk a little bit about the adult learner article, because we know that adult learners are way different than the kids we have in our classrooms. Okay, Jamie, you should be unmuted, and Sam, you should be unmuted. And if anybody has any comments, you could just raise your hand in the chat feature and we will call on you. Hopefully you guys took a look at the article.
So on the next slide, there's some like questions.
Oh, I apologize.
Help.
I did remember that. Okay. What assumptions does the author of the text hold? What do you agree with in the text? What do you want to argue within the article? And what parts of the text do you want to aspire to or act on?
So just some things in addition to your ahas that you put in the article. If you didn't do that yet, it's fine. It's just a good article, kind of like gives you like the ins and outs of what it's like to work with adult learners and what kinds of things you can expect. I'm sure that you know them. We've talked about some of them already. But if anybody wants to share, it's like the first day of class where no one wants to talk.
If you look at the article, a lot of people left comments and responded to one another. There are some really good comments in here.
Brittany, you can talk. Oh, Joe, you have to unmute her.
Who's that? Oh, Demeglio. Sorry. She raised her hand. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I was just going to say is, and I know a lot of us who read the article and commented on the article said, is it's very easy for adult learners to find that intrinsic motivation. And it's very difficult for students or like young age children to find that. And I think as teachers, a lot of us are seeing that right now with distance learning, that how can we motivate our students to do this work when there's all these distractions at home? And yes, we have distractions, but we know what needs to be done. So that's a lot. I don't know how much, I don't know if I would have gotten the same thing out of it if we weren't in distance learning. I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of it resonated with me more because of distance learning.
That's an interesting perspective. That's an aha moment right there. Very good. I don't want to put.
We joked around about how like we've been doing all these trainings and like hundreds of teachers have showed up to these online trainings, and like I'm sitting here like, yeah, these same trainings that we've been offering for like the last 6 years. Couldn't get anybody to come to, and now everybody's like, wait, there's a Flipgrid training, and I'm like, oh my god.
I have to go ahead. So George, I don't want to call you out. I saw you nodding your head there when Brittany was talking. If you have anything you want to add, I just happened to peek down. I saw you nodding. So if you want to throw anything out there, that'd be great. I don't mean to throw you on the spot.
No, it's fine. I mean, if you're talking about the comment that I made on the assignment, I think that a lot of people, and like even going back to before, I think a lot of people, like teachers now, are more motivated to learn this because we're in distance learning. So like that, when I was reading this, kind of with the same thing that like Brittany said, like I felt like I could connect with this text a lot better, because I like going back to trying to train older veteran teachers. I was trying to push the Google agenda in my school, and I had a lot of teachers who were like, yeah, this is great, but like, you know, it's useful for you. And I was trying to walk around like the week before we were leaving and say, hey, if anybody needs any help or anybody wants anything, like as far as like Google, it'll be very helpful when we have to teach from home, like yada, yada, yada. And I was kind of getting like yeah, you know, it seems like good, but whatever. And the amount of phone calls I fielded from those same teachers over the course of the last 3 weeks is astronomical. So, you know, now that there's a motivation and like that survival anxiety that they talked about in the text is higher than, you know, the learning anxiety. Now, or I saw at least that there's that motivation and everybody wants to kind of jump on board with this Google thing. So like that was my whole kind of aha moment, because I just realized that now that it's, you know, that anxiety to survive and that anxiety, oh man, I have to supply this work for the next 3 months is so high. now, everybody wants to learn. Everybody wants to be willing to learn that. And I have no problem, obviously, getting that information across, but it just really, for me, that resonated with me when I read it.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, I don't know if Miss Azar was nodding her head at her children or at what Mr. Bonilla was saying. But I don't know if she's agreeing or what. So I'm just calling out people.
No, I was doing both. Okay.
Gotcha.
He wants to dump sand on my keyboard, but no, I completely understand. Like you said before with my department, I literally had a teacher say, "Oh wait, on Google Docs you could see what the other person's typing," and I'm like, I have a lot of work to do here. Okay, with these people. I mean, this is the future. I'm sorry, but this pandemic might happen again next year or in the fall, and this is going to happen. Unfortunately, I feel like it's going to be a norm for us. So we need to all get on board, and every third grade class needs to be on second, first. We'll talk about that later. But the article really resonated with me because I am going for my supervisor certificate, and I think I read that article 3 times already, or something similar to that. But I also feel like it's so in a perfect world. When the first comment I wrote is teachers are the worst students. I don't know. I'm sorry if that is offensive to anyone.
It doesn't have to
but
be.
They really
a lot of people
are
said it in the Padlet. A lot of people said it in the Padlet about like we're our worst critics, and we are. We absolutely are.
We talk smack about like the professional development people, and it's just we're trying to break the mold here. And I think a lot of people retired that have been so negative about technology. I really don't see a lot of that anymore, which is good. They got out of here when when they lost all that money, so in their pension. But okay, I'm good. Sorry.
Thank you for that.
I was gonna say something.
Jamie, you were gonna say something.
I was gonna say something, and now I can't remember. I have pandemic brain.
Gotcha. Ooh, coining a new term.
I wake up at like 2:30 in the morning, like, did I post a Google Classroom? And then I'm like, it's 2:30 in the morning. Go back to sleep.
I hear you. We're all the same there. And some of you work I look at the faces and I see some of you work in fantastic buildings with great educational leaders in regards to your principals and how they encourage you to do separate, different things with the Google platform and do innovative things in the class. And I think that's also why you're here. And if I don't want to speak ill of any other buildings, but there are buildings that are not represented because this is not pushed by the administration in their buildings, or those teachers are not self-motivated. So when we talk about being self-motivated, like we're all the ones that are going out and trying Flipgrid and doing and posting in the Facebook group and doing all that stuff. And how many of us are fielding calls or text messages or emails every single day?
I remember what I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
Oh, so going back to what Eric was saying and kind of what you were just saying, that like if this is a consistent thing, then that's also another reason why we need more trainers. Like we need more people like you guys who can be leaders, who can be pushing these things out before we can't be in school anymore, so that we're not doing everything through text messages and like emails. And like, I don't even know how many like 2-minute screencastifys I've made where it's like, click here, do this, go there, done. Just like because people are like, I don't know how to do this. And it would be great if I could, if we had like a whole crew of us, helping everyone during and before all that happens.
Yeah, Tara Del Gandio started the Facebook group, and it's up to, I don't know what it's up to now, but it's not just
It's not just Woodbridge.
It's not just Woodbridge Township teachers. We're gonna have dinner in like an hour. We're not you with the candy.
There he goes, yelling at his kids.
My daughter has eaten so much candy. I think that's literally all she's eating is just candy. She's quarantining all the candy in my house. No, I think that's a very important point. It's 5,600 members. And so it's not just Woodbridge Township teachers. It's really awesome.
Just put it in there. It's called Remote Learning Ideas for Teachers, and it has like a Dr. Seuss quote up top for the group picture for anyone who's looking for it. It is a private group, so you just have to ask to be invited, but obviously Tara or I think Courtney.
There's questions. You have to answer questions.
Yeah, they're really basic too. And it's great because it's, if somebody throws out there, hey, I'm looking for a fun activity to do with 5th grade math and fractions. Anybody have any ideas? And like literally within a half an hour, of that being posted, there's like 6 or 7, oh, here's this Google Doc, or try this thing. It's such a great sharing resource. And that's like, and I think this experience has caused that to happen. But at the same time, we need to build on that for next year. Now we're opening up our classrooms, and Sam's given me activities to do in my technology class, and I'm sharing a Google Classroom with the other civics teachers in Islam Middle School. Like, we're really opening up what we're doing and giving our best practices out. And now and Brittany, I'm glad you're saying that. It really has been a great resource. If you're not on it, please join, because there's some cool stuff there. That's posted every single day. So please take advantage of it. And also, there's a lot of funny memes. The best thing about this coronavirus are the memes, let's be honest. Okay.
And you can watch Joe's distance learning diary every day.
I do my distance learning diary every day. So
I haven't watched it yet.
Every day. Oh, Jamie.
Kyle misses me, so he likes to watch it.
I put on the big screen. I make my kids watch it.
I haven't watched
Great.
Tiger
My
King.
YouTube.
They ripped off their ears and eyes.
Video diary.
My YouTube. Come on, your eyes too. That's messed up. My YouTube channel has I think
that mug, that face.
I think 17 followers now. So I only need a couple thousand more and I can monetize. Okay. It's great. We're gonna drive around and shoot Kyle with paintballs. That'll be my next entertaining video. Kyle loves me. He just likes to give me the business. But no, it is great. It is a great resource. All right, so let's go back to our slides, and we'll talk about the trainer expectations. Okay. There's a 2-step process for you to be a trainer. But I have to say that the application part of this has multiple steps. So our goal after these 4 classes is still to meet with you guys. So we're going to one of us is going to take you in small groups and mentor you through the process in order to make it a little bit easier. So there's a 90-minute exam, which is just 25 multiple choice and matching questions. There's also a certified trainer course. The link can be found in the slides in Google Classroom. The certified trainer course will bring you to the training center where you can find level 1 and level 2 materials, but also find exactly what you have to do in order to apply to be a trainer. Your application must consist of these things. You have to do a future goals of what your goals are. You have to have done 5 specific Google trainings already. You'll have to show all of your certificates for the level 1 exam, the level 2 exam, and the trainer skills assessment. You'll have to do a case study with artifacts. By the way, all these things we're going to detail in following classes. And you have to do a screencast video on one of Google's tools, introducing yourself and also talking about how you can use the tool. We're going to share all of our videos with you at a later time in the course. So that's really what's part of the process. I'd like to take a moment there and see, I know some people are maybe putting some things in the chat feature, but if people
can I answer, Joe?
Yes, I'd like you to, please. Yes.
First off, I don't want you to be scared by the 90-minute test. It does not take 90 minutes.
No, they just give you 90 minutes.
It takes 10 minutes. And it's not it is nowhere near as intensive as the level 1 and level 2 exam. And you do have to run the Google trainings. So it could be in your building. You could, I know Erica asked that one. You could have a Google training with the G&T department. And what they're looking for is quantitative and qualitative feedback. So you know how we give you all of the Google forms? Sorry, my kids are coming in. You know how we give you the Google forms at the end of each training? That is how we get our feedback to then become recertified every year for trainers. It could be as simple as Google Classroom, or it could be something like how to organize your Google Drive, and that's what they're looking for trainings.
And we just got a perfect example of teaching in the new normal from Miss Tulloch as her kids are running around in the background. Hey, little one.
Doesn't like Joe.
That is dedication right there. Yeah, so we're going to go through all this with you guys, but we also want to be resources. So and when we finish this up at the end of April, you can start reaching out to small groups or reach out to myself and say, hey, Joe, I'm going to put a training together on how to do something in Google Sites. And we can pass along the word and get more people in your meeting, because the more data you have, the better it's going to look.
Yeah, they won't accept, like, if you like 2 people attend a training, it's not gonna work. You need it like 10 to 15 people. We can also share the form that we use, because I feel like some of you, from what you've been saying, is like you're already doing some of this, so there's no reason why you shouldn't be documenting those trainings now, because like when we went to our training, which happened Cinco de Mayo weekend, we were stuck in a classroom up north for
Both
2
days, all day.
And we didn't know this. And luckily, though, like we had already been doing this, like Sam and I had already worked with Tech Care. So we had done all these trainings. So it worked in our advantage. But so we didn't have to do any extra trainings. Well, I did. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, so if you are doing like Zoom meetings, right, the only thing that you need to add to that is a survey at the end, which kind of proves that your participants actually participated and that they took something away, and they're giving you feedback, even great feedback. That's not what it's about. It's about you got feedback and that you learned from that experience. And part of that also goes into your case study. So when you do your case study, you're going to talk about a time that you did professional development and what you learned from that professional development. And part of what you learned from doing PD is when you go back later on and read those survey results. Because sometimes when like you're in the moment, people are very much like, oh, thank you, like this was great. But when they're in an anonymous survey, they're a little bit more honest with you when they're like, I didn't really get anything from this. It was too much, everybody talking over each other, like it was too fast, or it went too slow. Some people say that like it was too easy for them. So once you get that feedback, then you learn how to kind of change up your professional development and learn from that. And that's really part of this experience. Becoming a trainer is learning from these trainings that you're doing to make you better,
Yeah, and we do read that feedback. I know, I mean, I'm not trying to bust his chops, but I know that when we did the Google trainings in Google Academy, and Caldwell would would fill out his feedback, it was always that I go too fast. And I personally know that is a weakness of mine. I know that, and I'm calling him out. But I find value in that, and I know that's a weakness, and it's something I'm always working on. Is like if I'm going through things too quickly, and sometimes I do, and it's a variety of reasons. It could be nerves, it could be the material, it could be the fact I want to get everything done.
He gets excited.
I do. I get excited, in case you haven't told. Shocker. But no, it's, and you guys are asking some great questions in the chat feature. Yes, you can have it be previous trainings. So I know Vinny Romano just asked that. Of course, anything you've done in the last year, that counts as, okay, I've done these trainings, but your case study is going to be that you're going to give the same training to like 3 or 4 different groups. And then from the survey results, you would say, well, based on the trainings that I've given and the feedback that I've received, I would change this training by, and you'll say, well, I wouldn't do both parts. I'd only do part 1 because it was too much information as per the feedback that I got. Or I would change it by doing a small group setting instead of large group. You'll basically, like any good teacher, we're going to monitor and adjust our teaching based on feedback. What feedback do we get in the classroom? When a student does an assignment, they do poorly on it. If we've given them the instruction, if they've been doing what they're supposed to, it might be a concept that we have to reteach. So I'm just looking at hashtag Team Scott in the chat feature.
Sam, we need t-shirts.
T-shirts, get on it. But no, it's definitely, we are going to walk you through this entire process. And the great thing about it is we have such a large group here that you all can be like one of the trainings for everybody else. and we all
Yeah,
pop in
that's
and say,
another
okay.
thing. So
So
you could set up a training and only invite us. Google doesn't know that we're in your cohort. You know, like they don't know that we're training you to do this. They just know you talked about Google Classroom and we went to it and we gave you feedback. You know, so if you aren't doing anything right now or you haven't and you want to start there with like people that aren't gonna heckle you too much, then we could set that up as well to make you feel more comfortable.
James, if I make you host, would you go over slide 14, the application portal and the template that you put together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Al, to answer your question, it can be on one specific thing. I know many of my trainings for Google Academy have been on, one was on HyperDocs, one was on pivot tables. So it can be one specific thing as long as it is in Google. You could do even like a Google extension like Screencastify and things like that.
It has to be a Google tool, though. Okay. And we invite you to ask us, and if we don't know, we'll reach out to Josh Seipel, who's been a great resource once again. I think you might be able to do Form Ranger, Al. That's something we'll look into. Another thing with Zoom, just very quickly, as the person who was the host originator for the meeting, I have the ability to grab the host controls back to anyone that I give them to. That's something to keep in mind if you're working with students using Zoom. Okay, James, it's all you.
Okay, so this is just a link to the application portal. The picture actually links to the same portal. This is where you would go to sign up to take your exam, and then you'll go back here once you pass your exam to upload all the rest of your materials and stuff, your whole application and whatnot. This application template, and we'll talk more about the portal when when we get there. But this template I made so that everybody can, if you click use template, it makes a copy of it for you and adds it to your Google Drive. You don't have to do this now, but this is the application. So everything that they're going to ask you for on the application is on this document. All right. So that like what we did and what our trainer did when we did our training was he gave us a similar document, and you can fill this out. And then when you go to do your application, you just copy and paste everything into the portal. It makes it so much easier, especially when you get into like your case study, because you can see here the kinds of questions that they're going to be asking you about, actions you took to support educators and stuff like that. And, I know for me, I'll like type the first thing that comes to my mind, and then I like remember it a little differently. So then I go back, and so it gives you an opportunity to kind of edit yourself and really work on like telling the story in your case study. If you've done like your master's or a doctorate, like when you do a case study, it's not just about the data, it's also about the story behind it and like what you did and how you executed on what you were doing. So all of that is important. So that's the case study and the rest of the questions on the application. You'll also be responsible at some point for creating a trainer video. And this is, it could just be a screencast. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Yes, your face does have to be in the corner if you were like working off slides, like they want to see you. They want to know what makes you googly. I had a really hard time with this because I'm not like a googly person. I like Google, but I would never be like, yeah, I'm super googly. So I had a really hard time with that part. And then you also then have to teach, like during your video, and you only have 2 minutes to do it, another tool. So like anything from sheets, slides, docs, classroom. You could talk about like a Chromebook feature or something in Chrome that you use, like an extension or whatever. But so that's another thing for you to think about. So you have this document. Once you click use template up in the upper right hand corner, like I said, it'll make a copy for you, and then you'll be able to start filling in this information and thinking about your case study and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and your trainer video must be 3 minutes or less. If it's 301, 302, they do not accept it. We were told that specifically by our trainer. So it's got to be 3 minutes or less. They don't want a 3.5 minute video. They want a 3 minute video. They want you to be succinct and short. So you kind of want, and it doesn't need to be the same thing as your case study. It can be anything that you want to showcase and do a screencasted video for. How to insert a YouTube video in Google Slides. How to reply to
Maybe
student
we'll show
comments.
them
in Google Docs.
ours.
Say again?
At some point. I said maybe we should show them
Oh.
ours at some point.
100%. Al, I'll look into that. That's possible that's true, that 330 was okay, 4 would be pushing it. Yes, people do get denied, Erica. Okay.
Do you want me to talk about it?
That's up to you.
So I got denied the first time I applied to be a trainer. So that's why I didn't do the very first level 1 trainer academy. I was not a part of it for the beginning. I came in and did a couple of trainings because I needed feedback, because my trainer application got denied because the feedback that I submitted for my trainings was not sufficient. So even though like people had, because it wasn't quantitative and qualitative, they did not accept it. So I would wait like a whole year, I think, and then I reapplied. But I didn't have to retake the test. So I just redid my PD stuff. I updated my case study because at that point I had done more professional development and I had like a deeper study that I got to do, which was actually kind of nice. And then I redid my video and I resubmitted, and then I got accepted. It's nerve-wracking. It's a lot of work. So give it 100% the first time. I'm trying to. Did you guys lose me?
No.
I can't hear you guys. So Joe, you should take back host.
Okay. What we were told at our training seminar too was that many people get denied because the links that they share to their documents and to their video and to their certificates, they don't make them public. Anyone with the link can view. If you keep them in the Woodbridge Township School District, no one's going to be able to see them. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's why we want you to use that document and give us the feedback so we can help you apply, because we would love, and I think this is completely possible with everybody that's in this room. We would love for everybody to be able to apply by the end of this school year. I really think that is not an out of the realm, unacceptable possibility. I think all of you can do this and do it well. And I think it would be, and they review things. I want to say it's like every 60 days or every month or whatever it is when you apply. It gets reviewed by other super trainers, I guess, and then they review your applications and they give you the little stamp of approval. So it's just something to keep in mind. I don't know the exact cycle, but I'll find that out for everyone. Okay. All right, I got you. Sorry, I'm working on it.
When you apply, they tell you what the application deadline is, but don't think of that as like a hard deadline. Think of it as like, okay, this is the cycle. If I want to start this application and get approved within the next review cycle, that's when you have to do it by. And it does say it on this site.
Yes.
But if you miss that cycle, then you would just go into the next cycle. So if you decided to hold off so you could do more training or whatever, you would just do it later. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of you are already doing things within the Google platform and already training people. And the easiest way to prove that you're doing it is just keep a log of it and give everybody, even if you've done one in the last 3 weeks, where if you've met with a small group of people and taught a Google, email those people a survey and say, hey, I need you to take a survey that gives me some feedback on how I did. Was this useful? Was it not useful? So you can kind of backdate things a little bit too, to get the process going a little bit. Something to think about maybe over the next couple days. Okay. And she's muted again.
I muted
Now you're
myself. I
unmuted.
started coughing. No, I was gonna add to that, and then I was muted and I forgot what I was saying.
Okay.
Damn it. I'll remember.
Okay. Well, we had one more activity in the Google Slide for today.
Let's go to the
Check
Yes, Brittany, yes, they can. Students can be part of the training. You could give a training to a group of students. It's classified as a different way, but as long as you give them a survey and you get some feedback, like when I did mine, I showed students how to do question and answer feature in Google Slides. That was my case study. And I taught students how to do it. And then I gave them a survey. It was a small group of 8th graders, like 8 or 9 of them. But you absolutely can do students with it, 100%.
I shared the link in there for our form that we use. That's like the basic template of a form that we use, and that's the feedback they are looking for. They're looking for like a scale of like, how did it go? Like good or bad? And they're also looking for comments. The comments are the most important part. So when you're telling people to do this, tell them to fill out comments and be honest.
I remember I was gonna say, and make sure what Sam just said, make sure that they are honest. Like if everybody that fills out your survey is like, this person's amazing and they do everything perfectly, then they're going to be like, okay, they gave this to a bunch of their friends.
Yeah, just have Scott Caldwell fill it out because he likes to put in negative comments.
What?
Honest.
I love you, buddy.
Comments.
You know I love you. Honestly, I'd rather have honest feedback than no feedback. 100%. I'd rather people tell me, hey, it went too quickly, so I could adjust when we make it better. Okay, so we did have another activity in the Google Slides presentation. It was a jigsaw, but we're gonna save that for next week because it's 5 o'clock. It's close to dinner time. It's quitting time for most real adults. So we're gonna stop there. But we invite you to there will be an assignment coming from us for the next class, something short, okay, that we would like you guys to do. We'll save the jigsaw for the opening for next time. We are going to talk a little bit about adult learning theories and technology and stuff like that. And I think we will also identify some deficiencies in the Woodbridge Township School District that we all think we need to address.
Unit 1 in the Teacher Center is like a unit that we skip because it talks about like stakeholders and like having a say in your district's professional development. Oh, really. So if you want to look at it, it's a little depressing. But you could see like what Google's vision is and then think about how that contrasts our district does.
Yeah, and don't worry, Al, I'm still fighting for Google email.
Every
it was
day.
actually brought up
Every day.
It was brought up in my liaison meeting last week. I don't know if Jamie was there or not, but
Miss Barry always says that it's a legal issue, but we learned when we became trainers that that's not the case because of the vault. I don't know if he just doesn't have accurate information about how it works. Now, obviously, they can't give email addresses to kids that are under a certain age, so it would only apply to like part of the middle school and the high school. It still wouldn't be the elementary school. But if the teachers had them, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think in listening to Rebecca Gardner talk before about, she's got first grade. I mean, wouldn't you love to have first graders on Google Classroom at this point? Other districts do it. Why aren't we? So, and that's things we need to discuss and talk about and be advocates for.
How do you not have kids on Google Classroom? I know what school. Can you unmute yourself? What school are you at?
Some students are
28.
Because I know 4 and 5, they have all their kids on Google Classroom.
Some
from what I
do. Damn it!
Sorry.
Sorry.
Joe.
I'm on it.
Setting at some point.
Also, part of the problem with elementary is the passwords for elementary kids are crazy.
Kyle was nice enough to get me all of the accounts and stuff. The passwords are insane, and like my other first grade team isn't really on board. So we try to really at 28 stay like the status quo. Like we do all the same things, which is fine. It's just like I would love to put my kids on Google Classroom, and use it that way just because I do use it so much in my personal life that I am familiar with it, but we don't, and there's like no push for it. So like I didn't want to do it and then force them to end up doing it. They're definitely not confident in the level that I am. So it would be like 60 kids under me, really, which would be the issue. And I'm not, 21 is more than enough for me.
I understand.
Hey, Brittany, I see you made simplified passwords for pre-K and K. That actually goes against the policies for security, because we did that at the middle school level. We made all of their passwords Wildcat 85 with an exclamation point, and I then had to go in and change 600 passwords manually to an obscure password.
How we got around that is we just chose random words.
Masberry did the passwords that way.
Really?
They're still, remember, it would just be like truck 321 exclamation point, and Miss Barry said that that was fine. So
Masberry did it that way only for pre-K and kindergarten classes.
yeah,
That one of their passwords.
And yeah, Brittany, nobody's saying, of course, you did anything wrong there. We just, it's just something we want to, as we work with a system called Active Directory to make sure that everybody is able to log into everything. And as they get older, they'd have problems. But yeah, we gotta, you know, this is why we need a larger team. A larger team is more voices, more. Oh, Wendy, my God, don't even get me started on Clever. Okay, because I've pushed for single sign-on for years, because I texted Callahan when my kids came to the Woodbridge Township School District of this sheet with all the passwords on it, with like 16 different websites and 16 different passwords, and I was like, why are we doing this?
Use it. You can use it.
I
Sign
know,
up for
but
Clever, and you can use it with your kids.
we
And
should
then
be doing it as a
anything-
district.
But I mean, you could use it, and anything that you can sign on with.
All right. Well, James, Miss Gross and I right now are gonna fight. And no, I'm kidding. She'd win.
Well, then I'm going to sign off.
No, we want to stop there. It's 5 after 5. So we're going to meet everybody. You'll see an email from me probably before, probably like Thursday about here's when we're meeting next. The Zoom link will probably be the same, but I'll make sure I resend it again. You know, you guys, honestly, you guys are awesome. And when I saw the names come through, when we sent this registration out to everybody who signed up for level 1 and level 2, I was really happy to see everybody that signed up, because we need a team of people that, you know, is going to help make things better for our teachers in the Woodbridge Township School District, which is going to 100% going to translate for our kids. And Kyle's probably texting me some snarky remark right now.
No, I'm asking about 2 other people.
No, I'm just kidding. But now he's going to make a smart.
Oh, wait till it's over.
All right. Yes. And don't forget, you should also be putting down in your portal that you attended this professional development training as well. Put down the hour. Make sure that you do that.
Get PD.
Yes, you get PD. There is a Nearpod call. If elementary or middle school teachers are interested, there's a Nearpod call at 2:00 on Thursday. And also there's some other professional development that's posted on the elementary and middle school sites this week. There's some IXL stuff for math and some other things going on too. So check out those sites. Does anybody else teach math here? Besides, Vinny Romano does. That's right, Vinny Romano does.
So does Al in your own building, Scott.
So does Al in your own. Romano is excellent. Does anybody have any final questions for us?
Al does not count.
Al does not count.
That's because he's watching America's Next Top Model.
Oh, okay. And
He
insider
said
joke.
it in the chat before when everyone's like, "What are you watching?"
America's Next Top Model. Okay. Nice. All right. Everybody have a great day. Thank you very much for logging on. And now we all do the obligatory wave.